Guys, it's Drea. How are you doing today? Welcome to my channel if you're new here. Okay, so I'm doing something that I have had floating around in my head for months, but I'm not going to take credit for it because the person who kind of did it first and made me realize, oh, that's kind of what you've been thinking about, is Emily Noel 83. If you do not watch her, why not? She's incredible, so informative, so sweet. I just really love her channel so much. I am gonna link her video below. What she called it was Drugstore Classics, my first makeup. And basically it's kind of going back in time and using the products that you used to use. For me, I'm thinking of it like my makeup origin story. So where did I start in makeup? How did I get into it? It's essentially the same idea. For a long time, I've been thinking to myself, what would it be like to go back in time and use those products that you used to use every day? I'm in my early 30s, and so I started kind of getting into makeup in the mid 90s when I was in middle school, and really I didn't change much up until like 3 years ago. So I was using the same products for many years, and I think a lot of people are like that. I think we start out, we might use what our friends used around us, or maybe our mom or an aunt or something, and we mimic what other people do, and then sometimes we just never change it because we don't know that there's other products out there. We only see kind of what's in front of us, or we get used to a routine, and that's kind of what happened to me a couple years ago. I was just in a rut, and I was like, I need to change something. I cut off 8 inches of my hair and I got into makeup more. When I was thinking about what foundation I always use, I don't even know if this is the same one, but I know it always came in this shape container. This is the Covergirl. This is called CGsmoothers Hydrating Makeup. This is in the shade 715 Natural Ivory. I'm just gonna apply it how I used to, which is with my hands. Now, what Emily did and what I'm going to do today is, not necessarily do exactly the routine that I used to do, but bring more of my current knowledge to these products. I remember every day putting on my foundation with my fingers. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a foundation brush until a couple years ago. Like, honestly, I thought once I saw that, I was like, what? Why would you use a brush to put on foundation? Like, literally, I had no clue that that was even a thing. So I knew about makeup sponges, and I think a lot of us, maybe when we were growing up, if you remember, kind of started out with those little triangle sponges. I know I had one always in my makeup bag, and it would get continually dirtier and dirtier until I eventually threw it out and got a new one. I don't know about you guys, but when I was a teenager, I absolutely did that. And that was pretty gross, looking back on it now. This is not bad, blending it with my fingers. It is not fantastic though. It is a little bit streaky. So this foundation is not giving me the greatest coverage, and that's kind of how I remember it being back then. Not very much coverage at all, which I think probably when you're a teenager, is probably a good thing to start out with, not too much coverage. Concealer, I remember being one of the very first products I ever purchased because I have these super dark circles. I remember the first time I ever really noticed them on myself was when I was like in 3rd grade. And so they're hereditary. They're not because of lack of sleep. And I was always really self-conscious. So I remember like saving up my pennies and going out and buying one of those concealers that looked like a lipstick. You know, I mean, they still sell those, but I don't know how they are now. I haven't tried them in years, but back then it was like really kind of thick, and I don't even know how that would have been better to put on my face than just having dark circles. After I kind of got over that, I started using, I remember using both of these. So this is the Covergirl. It didn't used to be called Ready Set Gorgeous. It used to be called something else, but I remember this exact packaging. And this always cracks. I don't know if you guys have ever owned this product, but the top of it always cracks, and this one is starting to crack too. But this is the wrong shade. This is Fair. Again, I bought this about a year ago. Why? Why did I buy Fair? I have no idea. So that is gonna be way too light. So I'm gonna go with this one. This is the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind Dark Circle Eraser. And I remember using this when it first kind of came out. Similar to the foundation, I would definitely apply this with my fingers. Always. I think a lot of teenagers are self-conscious about acne and zits. And I think concealer is one of those things where it's like, it seems like it's gonna be the solution to all your problems when you're a teenager. But I don't, like I said, I don't know what that looked like walking around with that really thick concealer on my eyes. I remember reading Sassy magazine. Do you guys remember Sassy? Or 17 or one of those. And I remember they demonstrated how to like apply the dots around your eyes with concealer and how to blend it in. And that's how I learned about applying concealer. Now, next thing, if this doesn't take you back in time, if you're a child of the 80s or even 90s, like this CoverGirl Clean Powder, it used to have a different, it had like a kind of tortoise shell packaging. This is quite different. Like I had to actually go out and buy this. This one is 110 Classic Ivory. It always came with a little puff, and I would absolutely only use the puff to apply this with. So that's what I'm gonna do today. So this one does have that scent. If you know the scent of the CoverGirl, oh, this is actually kind of dark. I thought Ivory was supposed to be light. There is coverage to this powder. You guys, the powder, I don't know what it was. Like any oiliness on my nose, I had to like, I was so embarrassed. If my nose was even the slightest bit oily, I would need to powder it. And so I would always have one of these in my backpack or in my purse when I was a little bit older. I always had one of these. I can't even tell you how many I went through. This powder, I think, I don't know what it is. I remember being in middle school, high school, and this powder was like the ish. You know what I mean? Like it was what every girl had, and you would just fit your little powder puff in there and close it up every time, you know? So I always had one of these. I remember carrying it in the back pocket of my jeans sometimes. You know what? It's still a good powder, you guys. That really sets your makeup really well. I would always set my under eye with it. It's actually a nice finish. Like there is nothing wrong with that powder if you're gonna use a powder. So that's nice to know that it's still excellent. But yeah, I don't know what it is about that CoverGirl powder. Like every teenage girl had it, I think. Okay, back in time, I would have never, ever, ever known about eyeshadow primers, but I'm gonna use this one because I just want to. It's that simple, and I'm just gonna use the Hard Candy eyeshadow primer. It's called Eyes the Limit. This is actually a really good eyeshadow primer. I really do like it. Okay, so I never would have known about eyeshadow primer. I don't know about you guys, but I don't even really think it was a thing until a couple of years ago. What I do remember is, and the reason I didn't put on any face primer today is because there was no such thing when I was starting out with makeup. If there was, I don't know about it. And I remember Smashbox being like, I think kind of the pioneer in primers. And I actually remember seeing on Oprah's show that there was this thing called primer, and it made your face like look like it was in a photograph. And I remember that they described it that way. And I think that was probably like late 90s, maybe early 2000s. I can't really remember, but it was during that time when Oprah was at the height of her popularity. And that was a thing. It was like, oh, there's this new invention called primer. I did pick this up the other day for the purposes of this video. This is the Maybelline Eyestudio. This is called Smoky Cinnamon. Now, I definitely had a few of these in the last 10 years or so, but what I really remember is Bonnie Bell eyeshadow. I must have gone through Hit Pan on that. Oh great, I just stuck my thumb right in that shadow. Okay, I probably went through Hit Pan on 4 or 5 palettes from Bonnie Bell. And I went out the other day looking, and I don't know, they just don't sell Bonnie Bell in Canada anymore, but I can't find it anywhere. But the thing that I would always do is buy a palette that had like a kind of pinky salmon shade and a green. That is all I wore for like 10 years. So that's what I bought. So we have a green and a salmony color. Now these definitely have glitter in them. There's no transition shade in here. These all have glitter. So we're just gonna work with it. I think I'm just going to apply this with the sponge that it comes with. I'm gonna take this light shade here and just put it underneath my brow bone and see just how glittery this is. Oh yeah, that's definitely got some highlight to it. I always highlighted my brow bone. I didn't even know it was a thing, and I did it. I think I caught myself in the mirror one time and I saw it kind of shiny and I thought it looked really pretty, so that's what I did. It looks like this might be an overspray of glitter, which actually would be a good thing. The other thing I would do, and I did this for years, is I would do all my makeup in a mirror this size. I don't know why, I just never had a big mirror. I would only use the little tiny mirror that my compact had. All right, this is decent pigmentation. So this is almost more of a brownie orange than an actual salmon shade, but for the purposes of what I'm doing today, that is totally fine. I am just really trying to blend out into the crease with this, since there's not really like a crease shade in this little palette here. I'm just making sure that there's like no harsh lines there. And I'm gonna flip over the sponge and go into this green, and let's see the pigmentation of this one. Oh, this is actually more like a deep olive. So what I would go for is definitely lighter than these. These are definitely darker than what I would used to go for, but this is not bad. This might be more of like a fall look. Now I did know that I needed to blend the two together. I always blended the two together because I knew that would be weird if they weren't. I never would have had a blending brush, ever. I only ever use sponges. Now this is just not doing it for me. I can't get it to blend out properly. So I'm definitely using a proper blending brush just for the edges. Going on the lid, the sponges are fine, but I just can't get it to blend right. Now I am gonna take this Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I'm just going into this very kind of light beigey shade just to help blend out that crease, since there's really no like transition shade in that other palette. So I'm cheating a little bit, but I just can't walk around like that. Definitely started out with something like this. This is from Wet n Wild. This is a Kohl eyeliner from their Color Icon line. This one from Covergirl is what I repurchased over and over and over. Now this one is called Ink It. I don't know if that's what it was always called, but it was the retractable one. So I would always buy the retractable kind, and with the little kind of micro point, I always wanted that for my eyeliner. And I would just like kind of pull my eyelid really taut and then draw it on. Now, I know that's not such a great thing to do, so we're just gonna try our best. The reason I would pull my eye so taut is because this does not go on easily. I'm realizing that now. It's very hard, and like it drags. That kind of was a big fail. I got a big how did I even do that? It's because it's dragging so hard. I can't get it to move. Oh my gosh. I honestly don't know what I would have done with a catastrophe like this back then. But now I have this e.l.f. makeup remover pen. So I just took it off and I'll just reapply a little bit of that salmon shade over the top. That eyeliner though, not good. Can't get it close to my lash line, and this one is pulling too, so we're just gonna leave it the way it is. This is more about having fun and going back in time and having a little bit of a nostalgia rather than doing my makeup like amazingly well. I never ever used to do my eyebrows ever. I think it's because my mom didn't, and so I didn't even really understand what people were doing when they were doing their eyebrows. I did know that I had a few people in my extended family that looked like they had drawn on Lucille Ball eyebrows, do you know what I mean? Like that really thin kind of rounded brow, and I knew that I thought that looked terrible. So I was always really afraid of eyebrow products. And my eyebrows, while not too super thick, I don't think are that terrible to just go outside with. So I never really needed it. I never really thought I needed to do anything to my eyebrows, so I never did. But once I started, I think I realized that it does actually make a nice difference. And so that's why I started doing them. It's really because I started getting into watching YouTube and expanding my horizons. I think a lot of people maybe want to make a change in their life, and so maybe they come to YouTube for that. What I'm using now is the Loreal Brow Stylist Definer. This is an excellent, excellent product. It is a micro tip pencil, goes on pretty easily, but not too much product at once, just enough. The drawback to this L'Oreal product is that there are only 3 shades, I believe. And so if you are not one of those shades, I don't know what to do for you. I don't really use all that many products from the drugstore when it comes to eyebrows. The other one I like that I just started using is the Milani Brow Kit. Oh, it's called the Brow Fix, I think. It's really good. Bronzer is not something I ever would have used when I was a teenager, but I did see people use it. I started out with Physicians Formula. I don't know if this wasn't the first one I ever bought, but this would have been the kind that I bought. Physicians Formula, I think, when you're young, seems a little bit more, the packaging is so fun, I think, that it is appealing, but to me it always seemed a little more grown up. Like, that's what grown-ups use. And so, you know, but I always liked it. I always liked the look of it, but it's very expensive. I think that's why maybe teenagers, maybe, I don't know, do they use it now? Do they use it as much now? I know back then it was not really that popular, I think, because it's so expensive really for a drugstore. Blush. I never ever used blush until I went out into the working world, and the first blush I ever bought was actually this one, and this is a high-end one, but it's Benefit Dandelion, and it used to come with the same little brush, and I would always use this little brush, and I actually still do for this. This brush is not bad at all. When I used to buy this, the whole top would come off and you would set it to the side. It didn't flip open like this. This does have a little mirror in it, but I would just go swipe 1, 2, 3, and then I would do the same thing on my cheek. I just do that. Now, it is summertime. I'm a bit more tan, and so I was thinking this might not even show up on me right now. And it is quite light, but that's okay. It's giving me a little bit of a flush. It's not bad. But yeah, I definitely hit pan on this. And when I saw it a few years ago, when I started shopping at Sephora, really, in earnest, I saw it and it just brought back a flood of memories of nostalgia to me. I can't tell you how many tubes of this I went through. I haven't purchased it in a long time, but I can't wait to try this again because I used to use this all the time. This is the Maybelline Great Lash. Sometimes it comes in green and pink packaging, then they changed it, now it's kind of all over the place. So, I mean, this is just the mascara that I would use every single day. I would never use false eyelashes. I probably should have curled my eyelashes. My eyelashes don't, I wouldn't say need it, but they do benefit from a little curl. There is a reason that this is a classic, I think. It just gives you a little bit of volume, not too much, darkens your lashes, makes them nice and black, and it keeps them nicely separated. And I think that's why it's so popular. And I always say, if there's one makeup product I could not live without, it's mascara. I think mascara makes the absolute most dramatic difference to somebody's face. You know, this foundation is not bad. It's giving me just a natural look. And I'm pretty matte, but it's not full coverage by any means. Definitely more like a medium coverage. But it's nice. It's just evened out my skin tone. So I'm actually liking that foundation. It's not bad. I don't know about girls nowadays, but I know when I was in high school, nobody wore lipstick. I don't know what that was. I think it was like, maybe it was just like a little too grown up. Maybe it was a little too trying too hard. And I think when you're a teenager, you don't want to look like you're trying too hard, right? So I know all we really use, me and my friends, is more just like lip smackers, lip balm, maybe a tinted lip gloss, but that's all we ever used. once I got out of high school, I would definitely venture more into something like this. This is the Color Rush from Rimmel. I think these are really approachable for if you don't know what to do with lipstick. And Revlon. Revlon was one of those where I remember my older cousin, she had lipsticks like this. My friends' moms, I would look through their makeup collections. They always had this classic Revlon always. This one is in the shade 460 Blushing Mauve, and I'm just gonna use this one today because this is a nice neutral. So there you go. I would never go out of the house even with this neutral of the lip. Isn't that crazy how things change? You know, kind of planning for this video and thinking about my earliest makeup memories made me think of the first time that I ever really played with makeup was my aunt. And she actually like did a full face makeover on me at my grandparents' house, and I was absolutely enthralled. And she just did the eyeshadow, little blush, little lipstick. You know, it was nothing crazy, but to me, I think I was maybe like 7 at the time, and I thought it was the most amazing thing ever. And she was somebody I really looked up to, so of course, like, it to me made me feel so special. And I remember posing in front of my grandparents' like buffet with the fancy like decorations on it. I was posing there and I had my shoulders back and I was like sticking my chest out and trying to pose like a model, you know. I still have that picture somewhere. I don't know where it is right now, but I still have that picture. So just thinking about like my origins of makeup, it's so nostalgic to go back in time, and even just doing this and planning for this, and it was so much fun. So I don't know if you guys have ever done that before, but leave in the comments below what your memories of starting out with makeup are. I think it's so much fun to think about that, to think about the products we used, our experiences. You know, we kind of as women take from each other a lot, and that's how we learn, you know, how we want to be as ourselves. I think a lot of the time we take something we admire from this person and something we admire from that person, and that's kind of how we become who we are and let our own selves shine through in that way as well. So anyway, obviously I'm getting a little nostalgic, but this has been a lot of fun. So I hope that you guys had fun watching me do this, and I think the look minus the eyeliner came out okay. This eyeliner is looking not so great, but the rest of it I'm not minding. The foundation, even the concealer is not bad. So let me know what you think in the comments below. All the products will be listed in the description bar just in case you're interested. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then make sure you do that on your way out and give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And that's it for today. So thanks for spending time with me today, you guys. I love you. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and I'll see you next time. Bye.